Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Jett at the highest level and making sure everyone knows how to actually entry on a duelist, because I feel like especially playing in like a higher rank, not many people know how to properly use like Jett dash, raise satchels to like gain space. If you guys already know how to use Jett's abilities and like what her abilities are, you can skip forward. The three abilities that Jett has besides her ult are going to be her dash, that just helps you create any type of space you want. So if you're entering a choke point, you just dash forward and you create the space for your team to push in behind you. Or her next ability is going to be updraft. Her updraft ability is really good to kind of, especially on defense, to clear angles that like, you know, no enemy team is going to be looking. So if they're pushing in through this choke point right here, they're going to be clearing the close angles. But then if you're sitting up here, you're kind of sitting at an off point to where they're not going to have their crosshair. So it's kind of just a free kill if you're like sitting anywhere that they're going to have to move their crosshair. So if you're having your crosshair, you know, just head level, you're going to have to adjust your crosshair when you're pushing out. And then you see him, you're going to have to adjust your crosshair a lot. So using your updraft to kind of be in places where the enemy isn't already going to be having their crosshair is really good. And then her last ability is going to be a smoke. Her smoke's really good for kind of blocking off areas where people might be looking. So if I'm pushing out onto a site, I want to make sure I'm smoking off the angles and then clearing everything, and then when the smoke goes away, you hold it. And then you can combine these abilities, which is what a lot of players do. You combine the abilities to make it easier to clear. So if I do this, I'm smoking, I'm dashing in, I'm clearing all the close angles, and then once I realize those are clear, I can walk out and then help clear the rest of the site with my team. And what a lot of people don't know with Jett dash is you actually dash a lot further when you're holding W. So if I'm just dashing normally, I get to like around here. But if I were to dash and hold W at the same time, you go a decent amount further than if you were just, you know, dashing normally. Her last ability is going to be obviously her ult, and that is probably the most powerful thing Jett has, especially when combined with updrafts. If you're pushing onto a site, you pop your ult. If you're just running like this, it's a lot easier for the enemy to just kill you because their crosshair is already going to be right here. So if you're running, they just have to adjust their crosshair a little bit to shoot you where you're going to be. But if you combine it with your updraft, it's a lot better because you're going to be having them have to like make adjustments with their crosshair. Especially if you like, you know, you updraft onto one and then you updraft another. Especially when you're entering site, it's a really powerful thing that you can do, and a lot of players don't usually do. So you want to make sure you're combining all the abilities you can to make it harder for the enemy to kill you. The first map we're going to be looking at is Bind, which is, you know, honestly for Jett, it doesn't really matter what map you are playing on. Jett will be viable on almost every map, unlike other duelists like Phoenix or Reyna, where they may not be the best just for like team play. Jett really doesn't have a bad map. Every map is going to be good for her. Every map is going to have choke points where you need to create space. When you're pushing on the site, you want to make sure you're creating space for your team, and every map is good for Jett. So the main things I like to do with Jett, especially on defense, is just buying a Sheriff. The Sheriff for when they don't have shields is really good, especially on pistol rounds. And then like I said earlier, using your updraft, there is certain maps where you can get on top of boxes where they're maybe not going to be clearing you. So like for Bind, if you want to get on top of truck, you can glide from this box. You can glide on this box, jump on the very end, and then you can jump on this one and then get up here. If you want to stay on top of truck, you can. If you want to take an even more aggressive angle on top of this box to peek short, you can. You can also do it from heaven, but
Revealing area.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Spike is A. Bomb buddy out. Reloading.
being the duelist of the team, you have to make sure you're engaging in fights first. Especially playing like even chamber in some points, but like you want to make sure you're taking the early fights and then getting out to get info for your team. So like initiators will get like the long info where they dart and then, oh, like they broke the dart, we know at least one person's there. But being the duelist, you can actually get a good representation of how many people are there. So like they were pushing short, I knew that there was at least two short. I hit raise 55, I was able to get out without dying, which was really good. And then also you kind of just have to hop sites. So like they pushed A 2 times, they lost both rounds. So I'm just gonna keep trying to switch up sites on where I'm going. Also, I notice a lot of people, when they're playing Duelist, now I'm not calling anyone out here, you don't calm when you play Duelist. And it's really annoying because you're just like W keying in and like dying, you know? So always make sure you're calming to your team, trying to create plays with like your initiator and whoever else you're playing with. All along.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining. Team Ace.
Also, like, a big thing that, like, and this goes for no matter what agent you're playing, a big thing that loses a lot of people rounds is over-rotating. So, like, they all TP'd there, and all of my team rotated. So you always want to make sure, even if, like, you know, there's, like, one on the other side, don't over-rotate. I notice they don't really have any flank watch.
Oh, my ult's ready.
One enemy remaining. Last player
40.
standing.
Should be 1 HP. Nice, good.
What's this? Fire in the hole!
So basically, the kind of what I explained,
Spike down
I
A.
made sure to updraft so his crosshair, because his crosshair is looking at the entrance right here. He's not gonna be looking like up into the sky for my updraft.
Spike planted.
So anytime you're using
One
knives, you
enemy
always want to make sure you're updrafting, because it's just actually too free. And then with Jett, you know, her dash is a super good ability, so if I'm able to push up, get a pick, and then back off, it's really good.
Get out of my way!
Upping. Or you can just get a couple kills and then dash into their face. Up to you. For attack, it doesn't really matter what you buy. You want to make sure you always have at least one smoke, though. For close range maps, I like to buy the Frenzy just because when you dash, you're like already in their face. You also want to make sure you're taking space and like clearing everything. You're not just dashing in their face. So I clear that.
Reloading.
Our spike carrier is killed.
Spike down A. Last player standing.
One down.
A big tip I can give for anyone playing any agent in any rank. When you're on an eco round, it doesn't really matter what you buy as long as you have enough for at least light shield and a gun the next round after that, unless you're like, you know, a judge player or whatever. Ooh! Plus 18 RR. Dub, dub, dub. So it looks like the next game is going to be Split. Split is also a very good map for Jett, and it looks like we are also playing with a pro player. If you guys can't see, NA1 temp account 02. That means they are in fact a pro player.
Blocking sight. My ult's ready.
In heaven.
Spike planted.
One enemy remaining.
I feel like a lot of players, no matter what agent they're playing, and I can say I'm a victim of this too. You're playing too scared, and you're playing like you don't want to die, which, you know, is obvious. You obviously don't want to just run in and die, but you play so scared to the point where you're kind of baiting your team, and you're letting them do all the work for you as the duelist, and it just doesn't help you or the team win the game.
Poison's gone. Seek them. Found one. Enemy I've got your trail. There's another. Hawk out. 3 for 3.
In heaven,
Enemy
nice, good
remaining.
shot. Nice, good up.
You were a bomb.
Another good thing about Jett is when you have her knives, you're basically free to like buy anyone, especially if your team is broke or like you lose a couple rounds and your team is broke the next. If you have knives, just easily buy your team and you can get a full buy. So basically what you want to do, especially if you're kind of down a lot of rounds, you want to make sure you're just communicating with your team like a plan on what you guys want to do. Maybe figure out what they've already done in the past rounds and try and figure out a plan. We try and split B. Just take mid and then have like two people sit out B mid.
Break it.
Shadows traveling.
Wait, I'm coming back for Osage. Thank you.
Blinding.
Grenade! Stay down.
One more heaven, one more heaven. One heaven, one side.
One enemy remaining.
Nice. Last one was heaven. Could be CT now.
Spike planted. Cover going out.
He flashed from CT. Wait, he threw that flash from CT. Yeah. Nice, good job. You kind of want to make sure you know what they're doing, and then you use that to your advantage. So like the past couple rounds, they've been taking mid control. They've been like kind of stacking B, so we split B, kind of applied pressure from mid and applied pressure from B mid.
I have the spike. Your fault. My ult's ready.
Could be flank. Two spawn, last two spawn.
Blocking sight. For you.
One enemy remaining.
Nice, good job.
Look out. Time to hunt. I have the spike. They can come. I've got your trail.
It's heaven.
Healing you. Enemy spotted.
One enemy remaining.
Your duty is not over. That's done.
Nice job. Especially when you have jet knives, like entering is really fun and kind of easy when you have jet knives, because you just basically run at them. You know, you have 100% accuracy while you're moving in midair or whatever. Especially when you're comboed with like a Skydog. Our Skydog will push out B main. It'll clear this. It'll clear this. So basically, I only have to jet dash and clear like the deep and like basically trade anyone that pushes in behind me and dies. So if you have a good initiator who will drone and like dog close for you and do everything, basically you kind of just have to entry in and get the kills. So it makes it very fun and easy. As a duelist on defense, you want to make sure you're always taking those quick fights. And this map is really good for it because basically any choke point you go to, you're going to be taking a fight quickly. So if you go mid, you're going to be taking a fight. Mark it quickly, B main. 2, 3.
Yikes. Reloading. Enemy kill.
One enemy remaining. Spike
Working.
down B.
I said B main hit 40. I'm whiffing, but I'm also getting the kills. Nice, hit him. Could one be in elbow? Or in screens?
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Oh, you're insane. This is a fun game. It doesn't even feel like I'm having to do anything, even though I'm top fragging. Nice, GG guys. So that was a fun game, playing with a pro. I'm assuming from Liquid, since he told me to root for Liquid. That was fun. A light little plus 18 match MVP. That's what we like to see. So basically, the main things with Jett is you want to make sure you are entering correctly, meaning you are dashing on the site, clearing all the close angles. So like if you're playing split, you're dashing into A main, you're clearing hell, you're clearing right side, you're clearing flower. You're clearing all the close angles, and then obviously if you get a pick, that's really good. But if you die, it's not the biggest issue. You want to make sure also on defense, you are taking the first fight, hopefully getting out, getting your pick, and using Jett updraft to like get on angles where the enemy's not really going to be clearing nearing you, and then you can get kind of a free kill and then dash out. Coming with your initiator, making plays that'll help you win the game, because we were down a lot of rounds, but we ended up coming back. So make sure you're calming with your teammates on what you guys want to do, what plays you want to commit with each other. And yeah, make sure to check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/oxidizedf. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I see you guys in the next one.